pearl clutching going on with certain things, and then other things it's like, oh, whatever, you know. The double standard is extremely frustrating. So yeah, is Asmongold even wrong though? To be honest, I don't know. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say crazy stuff about Sharia law and like Muslims in general. I don't really know what the average Muslim supports, you know. What I can say is, like, I have, you know, really one Muslim friend, and he is not a part of an inferior culture. He doesn't believe crazy shit. He doesn't believe in, like, the complete destruction of Israel and America. Like, he doesn't believe in that kind of stuff, you know. He's a good dude, you know. I like him a lot. So, like, from my perspective, like, I don't know. I don't like the idea that all, like, Muslims or all Palestinians are of that ilk, you know. I don't think that's right, to be honest. I'm sure there are, like, with any religion, there's extreme stuff going on, right? Like, for example, I grew up, I'm not Catholic, but I grew up in like a Catholic family. Like my dad's parents are Catholic. My mom's parents are Eastern Orthodox because she's from Bulgaria. And I'm sure in both of those churches, like there is a lot of stuff about how being gay is wrong, and, you know, gay, you know, you should never lie with another man, you know, stuff like that in the King James Bible. I have a lot of other Christian friends, and it's not like any of them that I've met seem to have a problem with gay people doing what they want, right? Because we understand that, like, even though a religion can come from a certain place and have certain values and certain beliefs, you know, in the modern day, people will adapt and adjust their beliefs to, like, take some of the fundamentals of it, but not necessarily go as strict as maybe the book will be, right? So I guess I don't like the idea that, like, all, you know, all Palestinians are that way, you know. I mean, I even have a friend who is Lebanese, and he you know, is Muslim, but he doesn't care about, like, gay people, you know. He just likes to pray. And so from my perspective, like, the idea that all of them are the same is, like, probably not the case, you know? I don't think that's a crazy thing. I also am American, where, you know, everybody's more tempered and moderate in general, but yeah. But I guess Asmongold posted a response to all this stuff just now, so I'm curious to see what he had to say about it. I would assume he's going to say that he was getting kind of terminally online, but I'm very curious to see what his perspective was.
Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you all about what my reason was for getting suspended on Twitch, and also what my plans are going forward. I'm going to try and structure this video into two parts, where the first part is going to be me talking about the Twitch suspension, the second part is going to be talking about myself. And the first thing I want to start off with is something that I know it might sound a little bit insincere because of how ridiculous this is, but I really mean it, and if you listen to the whole video, I hope you can see why. Everybody who's come and spoken out and talked to me and said stuff about me, you know, aside from the, oh, you should kill yourself or something like that, I want to say that I really appreciate you. And
you shouldn't even speak about the Israel-Palestine conflict. You don't know about it. You're making the same mistake Asmon did. I don't know why the fuck you felt like speaking on it. I mean, that's why I haven't spoken about it in some kind of, like, serious sense, you know? I mean, obviously, I'm a memer. You know, I made the problems with Palestine thumbnail, which, because it's a very contentious thing, made a lot of people think that I am, like, a Zionist or something, which I'm not. I don't give a fuck. But I am surprised that Asmon, like, once again, decided to give that kind of take. Because I feel like a lot of the time he's of the opinion that, like, you shouldn't have to make a political take on certain situations, like, if you don't know about it. Like, because here he said, weird as fuck to see so many people coming out with statements about the Israel-Palestine conflict as if they need to comment on it. Can we please stop this weird culture around expecting people with no relevant backgrounds or education to talk about world events and politics? And, like, I think that's true. I think that's totally true, you know? Like, there was that clip of KSI saying, like, somebody was like, what do you think about Israel and Palestine? KSI was like, I don't really know. You know, I honestly don't pay attention to it. I don't understand it. I'm a silly YouTube guy. And a lot of people were like, he's a fence sitter. He won't say it because of business reasons. And it's like, if you're not a political dude, it makes sense to not talk about it, you know? Like, from a business perspective, like, it makes sense to not talk about it because you can easily just divide your audience over an extremely contentious issue. And secondly, like, if you don't know enough about it, like, if you're not informed, why would you speak on it, you know? Like, I don't fucking... The only shit I know about the conflict is stuff that I've learned in the past, like, year or so from, like, Twitter stuff and, like, a few streams here and there, you know? Like, I do not have enough of a depth of knowledge on geopolitical conflict to understand what the fuck is going on there. Because I'm a 22-year-old, you know, silly YouTube drama guy, right? That's what I do. Thank you, Michael Valeria, for becoming a member. Asmongold doesn't understand anything. I mean, that's not true. There's definitely things he understands. I think he understands, like, probably what makes a good video game. I think he probably understands, like, Twitch culture. I just don't think he necessarily understands, like, this super complicated world, you know, event or whatever. And if he does understand it, and, you know, maybe he thinks he has more knowledge on it and he wants to speak out more on it. It seems like from his perspective, he doesn't, you know, want to really stick to his guns and have kind of a chud moment because he's backed off on it, right? I mean, here he says, looking back on it, I was way too much of an asshole with the Palestine thing, my bad. Of course, no one deserves to have their life destroyed, even if they do things or have views I find regressive. You guys deserve more than me saying stupid shit like that. I'll do better.
And I think this has been something that's a long time coming, and I actually think that this is something that not only I deserved, but it's also something that I needed. And I want to talk about what the reason for that is, but I want to start off and just make sure that that's actually very clear. So a couple of days ago, I made some comments about Palestine and also about Hamas and, you know, some just general, you know, basically opinions that were trivializing the genocide that's happening there. And I don't really want to, like, mince words or, like, try to, like, oh, I wasn't justifying or, you know, promoting it. I said something about it that was disgusting. I said that I didn't care about innocent people getting killed by another force, by anything. And I think that that's a horrible, disgusting, mean-spirited thing to say. And I don't necessarily think that it was really racist, really. But when I'm using language like Palestinians or like the people there, rather than what my real language was, I've always been very outspoken and very against religious extremism. And I still am. I think that any religion and any way of thinking that's going to cause you to put other people in, like, kind of positions below you as, like, you know, like, gay people, women.
He's backtracking like a loser. I mean, the thing is, like, it's hard for me to tell, like, what the inner workings of his mind are. Like, when you come out with such a strong take and then you walk it back, it's hard for me to tell, you know, like, was that, like, an opinion he felt he was informed on enough to speak about it, or was he just, like, going crazy on stream, just, like, ranting, basically, right? Like, it's hard for me to understand what's going on there. I will say, like, once again, I was surprised that he was willing to have a take like that because of the position he's in, where he's a member of OTK, which is, like, one of the biggest stream organizations, with people like Mizkiff and Tectone and people like that. Like, so, like, him doing that can kind of, like, reflect poorly on the business as a whole from the perspective of the audience. And then on top of that, he's got a business like Starforge PCs. Like, I think when he says stuff like this, I think, you know, the greatest consequence is not going to be the ban. I think the greatest consequence is going to be that a lot of other creators who are not political are not going to want to do anything with him in the future for a while. Like, think about someone like Jay Schlatt, who has done stuff with Asmongold. Is he going to want to be involved anywhere near Asmongold, given this take he had? Probably not. And it's not necessarily because he agrees or disagrees, just because, like, it's a bad look, you know, when you are, like, a, you know, silly PG-13 streamer and then you see your, like, peer that you're doing some business with potentially saying something like that. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah. Part of what he was saying is basically it's hypocritical for LGBT people to advocate for a culture that hates them, and that's fair to me. He kind of lost the plot when he said they should all die, though. I think the idea that all of one group of people, like, from some country, should die is really silly. I think it's just really dumb, you know? It's just, like, a totally, like, reductive view of, like, how people work, you know? To be honest, does he really care about money or collabs? Maybe. I don't know. It's hard for me to tell. I mean, he has enough money that he could be fine forever, but, you know, you could speculate that's part of the reason why he's making the statement. But maybe he genuinely feels bad, you know? One thing I have noticed is that his, like, streams in general, like the titles and stuff, have been getting more and more sensationalist on the YouTube clips. He's definitely been very politically aggressive, so I think that this take is probably going to have, like, an effect where a lot of people who, like, he's shit on before and owned are going to feel really vindicated.
Women, people with disabilities, anything like that. I think that that's a really bad position to have, and I really don't like that. And I think that my problem and my fault here was that I was making a criticism of religious extremism, and I made no effort. And I feel like almost, I've rewatched the clip, right, or a number of the clips, and it's like I've almost made an effort not to draw a distinction between the two things. I think that a lot of us here can easily say that we're against religious extremism, and I am. But whenever I categorize everybody in the area as this, like, group, then I'm the asshole. And I was the asshole. I had a lot of you guys.
He almost became, like, an atheist extremist, you know? He almost did. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I'll see a lot of people, you know, say crazy shit about my friends who are Christian, and that will, like, because they're Christian, it will make them assume, like, they have, like, a list of beliefs, you know? Like, for example, like, people will give Wendigoon shit, being like, he's a white Christian, he definitely thinks this and this and this and this, and it's like, that's, like, a ridiculous assumption. That's a ridiculous assumption to make, you know? Like, I personally have known so many Christians who are, like, not in line with, like, a lot of evangelical beliefs on, like, LGBT stuff, or not in, you know, completely in line with like, you know, the Catholic Church, if you're a Catholic, stuff like that. And so it's very frustrating for me to see, like, people make these sweeping generalizations about them based on, you know, sort of aspects of that religion, when really, like, you know, I think the really important thing about religious beliefs is a lot of it is up to interpretation, you know? I think within the religions, obviously there's a lot of squabbling over, like, you're a real Christian, or like, you're not a real Christian, or like, you're not a real Muslim, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, the idea that I think, like, an entire group of people believes in one set of beliefs, or like, because they have that belief, they're bad people or they deserve to be destroyed, you know, is silly, you know? And I'm not saying this out of like some inherent support for Palestine. I don't give a fuck, right? But it's just like, from a basic perspective, if you're going to talk about that issue, you have to acknowledge that not everybody is in line with that kind of thing, you know? Making sweeping generalizations about giant swaths of individuals is generally an unadvisable thing. I think that's, you know, fair.
You guys tell me that. And it's taken me, this is what's so crazy about it, is that I think this has been going on now for like 2 years. I think that I've been slowly devolving into the most mean-spirited, I don't really even know what the word is for it. Just like the most mean-spirited, rude, like nasty, like just callous, psychopathic version of myself. I think that I've been devolving into this. And a lot of my friends have told me this. My dad has told me this. He said, you've got to chill out. You've got to calm down. I've been like, oh, that old man doesn't know what he's talking about. And I've finally had some level of accountability for that. And thank God. I look back at some of the things that I've said and done over the past 2 years, and I don't think that I've been wrong about everything, obviously, right? But there have been ways that I've communicated and ways that I've acted that are indefensible. And I think it's, looking back on it, it's just disgusting.
Master Mark says, I feel like Asmongold's having a moist critical moment, but politically. I mean, in a way, I mean, the difference here is going to be, I think that when Critical had that take, generally there weren't that many people who were mad about it, you know. Obviously, I criticized him. There were people like Sneeko that criticized him, but there wasn't like a platform push to say that what he said was bad, right? There wasn't like a ban that happened. There wasn't like a hard physical punishment, like monetary punishment, you know. But for Asmongold, he did have that. No, I will say, as far as like sympathy stuff, I feel like a lot of the reason why he's like this, if I had to speculate a little bit, you know, because like even if you think that like what he said was like based or right, like from a business perspective, from the position that he's in, it's just such a silly thing to do. So like to me, it seems like he's just, I mean, everybody knows he's terminally online, right? I mean, you look at his room, you know, there's so many memes about it, the blood wall meme, right? But it seems to me like he's a very, very terminally online person, and as a result, he doesn't know a lot of people, he doesn't have a lot of perspectives, he doesn't have like the worldly experiences. And as a result, you know, when you view the entire world through a screen of extremes, you can develop into a very, very, you know, politically like one side kind of person or like the other side kind of person, you know. And, you know, ironically, I think while he's probably railed on a lot of like leftist extremists who say crazy shit, unfortunately, I think he's almost fallen into that kind of hole on the other side. So that's, yeah, you don't need experience, you just need to be able to read. I mean, reading will never be a substitute for human connection, though. Like, you can read all you want about these things, but if you're not like, you know, familiar with maybe some of like the people involved or some of the sides and perspectives and how that translates into real life, like I think you're gonna have a hard time making a commentary. You know, he's extremely autistic. I mean, it's not autism. It's like it's just like being terminally online. You know, it's just sitting in the fucking room. How do you know you're reading facts? I don't, but I also haven't commented on this issue in any serious manner because I don't fucking know. Like, I'm generally, like, I'll admit it, like, I'm ignorant, and almost on purpose, you know, because I just feel like it doesn't concern me. You know, I feel like the issue overall doesn't concern me. It's so far away from me, and it's so serious, and it's so divisive, you know. I would rather focus on things that I feel like I have more knowledge and sway over, you know what I mean? Like, there are certain things that are worth it to me to, like, spend my energy and time on. To me, Palestine and Palestinians and Israel and Israelis is not one of those things I really am thinking about on a daily basis, you know. Terminally online equals lacking empathy and ignorance. All right, bro. I mean, that is literally what I'm saying, though. Like, if you spend all day in a fucking room and you're not going outside at all, you're not talking to anyone, you don't have no human connection, why would you not become psychopathic? Like, that makes perfect sense. You know? Do you think he's genuinely sorry, or is he just saying what he needs to get back into Twitch's good books? I don't care either way. I don't know. It's hard for me to say exactly. I mean, to me, Asmongold doesn't seem like a very fake person. You know, I will say, like, among all of the Twitch people, he doesn't seem like a particularly fake individual. So, from my perspective, it's probably a sincere apology, but I don't really know. He seems to be, I feel like he is being forthcoming and honest in this. Like, I'm not getting, like, Logan Paul apology vibes, but I mean that's not like a scientific like analysis. That's I feel like he's being honest. Stream keeping me going at work. Thank you. Maybe next Turk Tom did. Real soon. Real soon, Buster. Show us your spooky Halloween yacht. He should have just said sorry I'm disabled. True. That would have been base. Thank you, Lightning KBI. There's fear in his apology. Yeah, but it's hard for me to tell exactly what he's afraid of because I mean he is like a multi-millionaire. Like he definitely has like 20 mil in the bank. Like so it's not like a monetary thing. Maybe it's just a fear that like his one thing that he does all day, which is streaming, could like come crashing down. But you know, I don't know. To me, it seems like he is being relatively. I feel like he's being relatively honest with how he feels here. I don't think that he is lying with his apology here. I mean, obviously, if you come from one perspective, you know, if you're like pro-Palestine, I doubt this explanation will be enough for you, but yeah, like that's kind of the way I see it. He's a diagnosed psychopath. He said it himself in a video. He said, how do you get, I don't think you can get diagnosed as a psychopath. I don't think that's possible. Can you get diagnosed as a psychopath? I didn't think that was the thing that any therapist would ever do. I want a refund on the super chat. No, your own, bro.
And it's something that when you get lost in the sauce and you get fixated around like listening and reading feedback and you know just getting hyper fixated, this is like your entire life, you lose a perspective on reality and you lose a perspective on the world. And I think that perspective was brought into perspective yesterday and the day before when I was making comments like this, and I feel so stupid. It's crazy. So I'm getting all these people making negative comments toward me. Everybody is telling me like, oh, go kill.
He should have not talked about the Palestine thing because everyone who talks about it gets banned very easily, and it shouldn't be a real topic to talk about on stream. I mean, the thing is, not everyone who talks about it gets banned. That's not the truth. That's not the case at all. The people who talk about it from the perspective that he gave me, you know, Hassan tomorrow could go on stream and say, "Glass Israel." Maya, if you want to send me that video when you finish it, yeah, sure, I'll try to take a look at it.
Kill yourself, I hate you, everything like this. Do you know who reached out to me and they wanted to talk and have a conversation and see if I was okay? People that were Islamic and people that were fucking family in Palestine. And how humiliating is that? How absolutely humiliating is that? And these were the people I was trying to say were bad. And I feel like such a fucking stupid asshole. I really do. I've always been a, you know, I guess like I've always been kind of like an atheist. And even as a young kid, I was raised Roman Catholic, and I was always very defiant towards it. And I've always had a negative opinion of religion, and I've also had a negative opinion of religious cultures. And I think that opinion is definitely shaped by the media that I've created, and the media I've created for myself, and then also just the media that exists, the media that I've chosen to seek out as well. And
this is like the millennial cringe thing, right? The millennial cringe of like, all religion is bad. Fuck your sky god, right? Fuck your spaghetti monster guy. And it's like, okay, well, if you haven't talked to a religious person, it probably makes no sense to you why they feel that way, you know? And I'm not religious. I would call myself probably agnostic, maybe even atheist. You know, I've had a very hard time like believing in anything related to religion. So you know, it is somewhat hard for me to understand the perspective of a religious person. But yeah, like the idea that all religion is bad. Like, you believe in that silly god? Everything you say is retarded. It's just like not the case, obviously.
And I think that media has allowed me to have certain predispositions and certain biases that the truth is that don't have any sort of relation to what my own real life has been experienced. Or my own real life experience has been, excuse me. And so I've been spending a lot of time.
You should have taken him to the gym and made him wear a Stop Gooning hat. I think him going to the gym would be great for him, dude. I think Asmongold going to the gym would probably be excellent.
Talking to those people, and I've seen people like fans of mine, like I had viewers messaging me on Discord, like, you know, why are you saying this? Like, do you want to talk? Do you want to, like, you know, I'm willing to talk to you, and like, you know, like
his V-neck and cardigan makes it worse. He just has an interesting swag. You think it's about money? I see people in chat saying it's about money. The thing is, I don't think it's about money for him because, I mean, look at where he lives, right? Look at where this guy lives. Like, he doesn't even spend money. Like, if it really is about money, it wouldn't really make sense to me because he just puts money in the bank and just lets it sit. He doesn't do anything. He lives in, like, filth in the house he grew up in this, like, disgusting, dilapidated environment. He doesn't own, I don't even know if he owns a car, frankly. I don't think if he does have a car, I don't think he owns an expensive car. I don't think it's about money for him, you know? Like, this guy still eats like $1 steaks, despite the fact he makes like $1 million a month. You know,
like let's try to work this out, right? We love you. And I scrolled up on their messages. And
it's not about money. His actions affect his organ company. Well, I mean, it might be about that as like that could be part of it for sure. You know, that could be why maybe he feels pressured to make this response. But I could say the response itself. I mean, he seems genuine to me. I don't know. Tom Earl video taking him to the gym when if he ever wanted to do it, I would do it.
And these are people that messaged me in like 2016, 2017, 2018. Like, I love your content. I love your stream. I love you, right? And now they get to hear this from me. And I just feel like such a stupid, belligerent fucking asshole. I really do. And I'm sorry. I really am. I think that it's extremely fair to criticize religious extremism. And I think that it's extremely unfair to categorize everybody in part of that group as religious extremists.
He became an atheist extremist, okay? He subscribed to the school of the amazing atheist.
I think it is. I'm really sorry for that. I've just been a fucking dick. And it's weird because yesterday I woke up and I didn't know if I was going to get suspended or not. And I had planned on streaming and everything. And I actually got a text message from one of my mods. They said, "Oh, I heard about the suspension. I'm sorry." And I was like, I remember I was like driving and like, you know, you'd think that like...
He has a car? I'm so shocked he even has a vehicle, dude. I cannot imagine him driving. I can't imagine him outside of this room. Like, I feel like he just lives here and doesn't shower.
Your heart rate would go up. But if anything, I felt more relaxed. I felt like finally I have a moment to just take a step back and breathe and think for myself and just stop, just like get out of my own head. And I spent a long time like just writing basically a list of all of these things that like I think that I should be doing with my life. And this is going to be kind of the second part, by the way, of the video. Comments that I made were pretty much about religious extremism. I think it's bad. But I've categorized a lot of people in that way that was unfair. It's wrong for me to have done that. I said something that was bad. I should not have said that. I should have chosen my words more carefully. I didn't do that. I doubled down on it. I shouldn't have. I'm sorry. That's pretty much, I was a fucking asshole. I was a piece of shit. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. And so, actually I do know what else to say. I don't like making apologies because I think words don't matter. But I do think changed actions and changed behaviors do. And so you can take my apology as hopefully better content. And if you're not seeing that, I want you to hold me accountable. Hopefully this time I won't be stupid enough to ignore it.
While drinking water, it's a big step for sure. That's a big step for sure. He's doing this to save face. Honestly, don't think he is, man. I honestly don't. You know, I mean, there's no reason for me to believe necessarily that he's like being disingenuous with his apology here. You know, I don't really think that's the case. I mean, if he makes more statements like this, I think it's very possible that, you know, it was all bullshit and whatever. But, you know, to me, when I watch him talk about this, I feel like he seems like he's being honest with his verbiage. He's not like playing the victim or feeling bad for himself or trying to make it seem like he's, you know, he's misunderstood. Like, he seems to be actually apologizing genuinely. And I think when somebody sees someone like this apologize who's in the position he's in, I think people don't want to, you know, they're unwilling to accept the idea that it is a genuine apology. But I think it is. I just think it is, man. I think he genuinely feels bad, you know. I don't think he's being fake here. He's very good at appearing honest. Okay, well, I don't know how I'm supposed to convince you, but yeah.
Milk is pretty dry. Anyway. So the second part about this is that I want to talk a little bit about like my life, my personal life, etc., and kind of some of the points that I think that I've kind of gone through to get here. So the main thing is that for the past, like, I would say like 10 years or so, if you look at my life like this, I would have said 10 years ago or maybe 8 years ago, streaming was like this, right? YouTube was like this. And now I would say that my life and streaming are basically the exact same size. And what I mean by that is that streaming is my entire life. Doing this is my entire existence. And I think that the process of that has been extremely unhealthy for me. And I think that what it's done is that it's allowed me to become such a one-dimensional person that I'm not even a person anymore. It's like I'm in Dark Souls, I'm going hollow or something. And I think about like all of the, you know, like I made a list of all of the things that I'm not doing in my life that I should be doing, and I was writing it down, and I'm like, you know, fucking like, I'm just going and going and going. I'm like, oh my god, I think it'd be shorter if I transcribed the Bible. Like, this is insane. Like, like, whenever I have everything written down line for line, it's like, oh my god, I'm ruining my life. I've been existing, and I want to, at a certain point, actually try to live my life.
I'll only accept his apology if he accepts that John Claris is Lord and Savior based. Shocked that he goes outside and drinks water. That is a little surprising to me. Thank you, Abstract, for becoming a member. I mean, the thing is, I think that my, you know, prediction here about maybe, you know, the headspace he's in and why he said such a crazy thing is ultimately true. You know, I think that, you know, when your life is completely absorbed on the internet, and that's it, you know, and this is something that I'm guilty of to an extent, that I you know, I feel like it's a constant war with me to like try and, you know, have like a real life outside of this shit, because I love YouTube too much. I'm too addicted to it. Like, if I let myself, I would just be on the computer for 14 hours a day. Like, I wouldn't go to the gym, I wouldn't have any friends, I wouldn't date girls, I wouldn't date girls. Like, I would just be on the fucking internet all day. And I've had to like pull myself back from it many times and be like, okay, I'm gonna become an unhealthy, unlikable, insane person, because, you know, if that's how you get into the trap of becoming like this, you know. You date boys, true. I only date guys, that's very true. But thank you, Scoots, for coming over. But yeah, like, if your entire life is on the internet, why would you not become extremely psychopathic? You know, if your entire worldview is informed by Twitter and YouTube, everything you view is going to be one-sided, it's going to be extremist, it's going to be sensationalist. You're going to completely devolve into like this, just like internet-pilled retard, which I think is what has been happening to him, you know. So I think for him, it seems like this kind of ban seems like a wake-up call to him. He needs to like become a different person, you know. And it's like, on one hand, like, you can say like, oh well, you know, he became the biggest streamer in the world, and it's like, okay, well, that is respectable and cool. Like, the grind is, you know, admirable. But at the same time, like, is his life going to be good or fulfilling? Is he going to look back at his life and like think like, man, I lived a great life, you know, not experiencing, you know, interpersonal connections, not experiencing, you know, getting to like I don't know, just like simple stuff, like indulge in good food and like meet cool people and like go cool places and you know, do things that you're proud of that you made, rather than just be like the best streamer in the world. Like, are you gonna be a happy person if that's what you are forever? Like, probably not. You're probably gonna look back at your life and, you know, regret the fact that you're spending all day on the computer. I like Asmon's content, but who's affected by what the WoW guy thinks about anything? Who cares? Call your friends or parents, take a walk, Jesus. I mean, the thing is, like, Asmon's not just the WoW guy, you know. He's a dude with an extremely large audience. He speaks to millions of people every day, you know, on his YouTube channel. So obviously, like, some of the things he says can have influence, you know. Like, his audience can reflect his opinions a lot, I think. Literally owns multiple companies. I mean, yeah, he does, but like, does he do anything for them, really? Like, he basically just streams all day, every day. If you check this guy's life out, if you check out his stream hours, he streams like 50, 60 hours a week, every week. Like, that's basically all he does.
And I don't think that I've been doing that. And so, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna do that differently?
And when he's not streaming, he's in this room, you know?
And
eating like shit, no exercise. Like, it's not gonna be good for you.
For my stream, etc. I think that I'm gonna cut down a little bit on streaming quite as much. And I think I'm also going to cut down. This is gonna sound like I hope I can say this in the right way. I feel like the main times that I laugh on my stream nowadays are when I'm laughing at other people. And I look back on videos that I did from 2020, 2016, and 17, and yeah, I've always been an asshole, but holy shit, I've been way more of an asshole. It's insane. And
so he's saying he's just constantly laughing at other people's misery? Is that basically it? Is that what's going on here?
It's a night and day difference. And I've had, again, everybody in the world telling me this, including my own dad, and I've just ignored them. And finally, it's like, you know what? Maybe I'm an asshole. Maybe this is too far. Maybe I need a cool.
How does this millionaire have grease on his camera lens and a shitty mic? Well, because it works. Right? Because it works. So when you're in a position like this, when you're making millions and millions of dollars, and you can do it with a shitty mic and camera, like, you're not going to give a fuck, right? You're just gonna do what works, you know? I still use a microphone that's an AT2020 USB. I could use a different microphone. I could have like a Shure SM7V with like a nice audio interface. But for me, it's like, it works, so I have no motivation to change, you know? This is a habit you fall into, of just like, when something works on the surface, you're like not going to change it, you know? Like, for the longest time, I had on this channel a webcam. Okay, if you look at my videos, right, like, I literally have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I certainly have the budget for a nicer camera, and I only recently got a nicer camera. You know, if you go to the Tom Dark channel and you sort by the most popular videos, the most popular videos I think were recorded with a shitty webcam. Like, look at this. Here, following the release of this problem, being overwhelmingly populated by kids. Like, this video has 1 million views, and it's completely scuffed from a production standpoint. Like, this is like the worst camera you could possibly get. Like, look at, and like the reasoning why I had this is because it just worked, you know? And like, I only recently, in the past, I think, month, or two, I got this camera that was like $1,000 that like has improved the visual quality a lot. But like I could have just gone on with this camera and it wouldn't matter. You know? Like when something works, you're just not. Like, sometimes you're just like, fuck it. Like why would I change it? It's already working.
Course correction, which is why I think that like getting suspended in this, I hope that it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me. And I don't know whether that's going to be true, but I'm going to try to do things differently and make sure to live up to that reality. And so, what are those things that I'm going to be doing differently? The first thing is that I think I'm going to try. I've been very much trying to like maintain a consistent schedule with my stream, and I will continue to do that. I want to get up and go to bed at relatively the same time. I want to live a normal life, and also I want to spend maybe a little bit less time streaming, and I want to spend more time creating my own videos and doing my own things and spending time on things that I really enjoy, and basically just like expanding my existence as a person. I think that ever since I started like OTK and I got involved with that, and then we had like other Starforge and like Mad Mushroom and Mythic and everything, like honestly it's been too much for me to handle. It's been completely too much for me to handle, and I've been losing my mind dealing with it, and I try to hide it the best I can, because you know I try to do the best, right? I try to do my best. I you know, it doesn't matter how hard it gets, you just keep going, it doesn't matter. And
get a family, low bro. Yeah, that's always the confusing thing for me about someone in his position, like on the surface, because I would just think like, you have all this money, you have all these like connections and opportunities, like why would you not try to find meaning through having a kid, right? But I think for someone like this, I think you can just get very caught up in the day-to-day, you know, momentary, just like press button, get output, right? Like momentary dopamine. Like start stream, you just get like thousands of people watching you, you get, you know, all this positive affirmation. Like why would I need a family? It's like, well, because it will probably make you a better person to accept the responsibility of raising a child. You know? But I mean, you know, I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn here, but in the position he's in, I feel like he probably would not be a great dad, right? Like what values is he going to instill on his kid? Just not even based on what he said on the live stream, just based on like the way he lives, right? Like is this going to be a good environment for a kid to live in? No. Like a kid should not grow up in the house that he lives in. It's kind of a foul place to be, you know? He would need to work on himself before having a child. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And eventually it does matter. And I think that I've negatively affected a lot of them. And I also don't want to talk about that just in the context of just like this recent controversy. I want to talk about this in the context of the last 2 years. I think that I haven't really been able to fulfill my responsibilities as a leader in a lot of cases to them. And I think that I've let a lot of people down. And there have been things that I've done that are positive as well. But I think that one thing this thing has taught me, this whole situation has taught me, it's made me realize, is that I need to get myself in check. I need to get my mind under control. I need to, like, just get my life. I need to fix my fucking life. Like, it's insane. Like, I think about it and it's in shambles. Everything about my life is basically fucked. And I'm gonna take a step back from all. I'm gonna step away from the leadership position and OTK and Starforge and everything. I wanna, and they're fine with that.
Yeah, I would imagine given what he said, they probably are fine with that. You know, kind of could reflect negatively on the company. I imagine there's a lot of people right now emailing, you know, sponsorship. You know, look at what he said. You need to, you know, drop him right now, which I do find extremely strange, but that is unfortunately an aspect of modern day situation. But enjoying the Minecraft gameplay and reacting to body cam, you should watch the channel Pro Blue Cam. I was watching Pro Blue Cam in those videos. Actually, it's a good channel.
Respect that, and I want to do this. And I want to do this not only for them, but mainly for myself, so I can be a better version of myself for everyone. And I want to apologize to all you guys, my viewers, that I don't think I've lived up to that. I think that I can be a lot better than what I am right now, and I don't even think that I've been putting in half the effort that I should be in the way that I should be. And I'm sorry. And so my plan is to, when I get unbanned, I'll keep streaming regularly, right? And I want to focus more on trying to do things that are fun, trying to laugh more with people rather than at people. I'll still laugh at people every once in a while, okay? Like, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. But it's about a focus, and it's about a tone. I listen to my tone in the clip, and I just sound like such a piece of shit. really, at the end of the day, I sound like a piece of shit. I sound like a terrible person. And it's just so mean-spirited and callous. And
he gave an inch, they'll take a mile. Yeah, I am curious. What I will say is, like, if he has like a genuinely base take in the future that people disagree with, is he going to be pressured to like walk that back too? You know, like, how is that going to go? The problem with saying something like this and it getting clipped is, like, in the future, if he ever has drama, like, this is gonna reflect poorly on that. You know, people are just gonna always point to, like, look at what he said there, look at what he said there. You know, like, you can't respect that guy because he said this and this. You know, it's like a very cringe thing that happens. So, in the future, when he criticizes people for their takes, I think he's gonna have a hard time. So he's gonna have to be much more careful, probably, with how he talks about things. But at the same time, like, once again, I feel like his apology is real. You know, I feel like this is a real apology from him. So yeah, I don't know. He seems to genuinely be self-aware of the fact that his life is just fucking shit, and that's probably why he has been so nuts lately, you know.
Just mean, and I don't want to be that person anymore. And I've spent a long time growing up. The time I did, I was an r/atheism enjoyer. I have a very
shocking. His apology, as good as planned, sucks. Well, I mean, what else do you expect him to do, right? Like, he's banned for a couple weeks. He's gonna like work on himself during that time period. Past that point, he's gonna like stream a little less and have more stuff that he does outside of the stream. I feel like that is the best you can hope for. You know, like, what else do you expect him to just quit forever? Like, you can't really expect that. That's unrealistic. But like changing the way he acts is like that. I feel like that changing his lifestyle to like avoid things like this in the future makes sense. He's genuine about being sorry for offending people. He's not sorry for what he said. Vastly different things. He said he was sorry for what he said. What do you mean? He said he was sorry for what he said.
Very negative opinion of a lot of religions. I've had the experience firsthand of the negative effects of Christianity and, you know, the way that I view that. And I've always read a lot of very bad things about Islam. And I've made a lot of criticisms of it. I've talked to a lot of people about it. I've heard a lot about it. And I've been like watching things about it, and I've been like hearing people telling me this is the way it is, but I've never seen it. And I actually think that
he's lying about that part. Why would he say it then? Did you just get educated? I mean, did you even watch his response? Like, he literally said like he had a crazy take because he was just informed by like terminally online, you know, media outlets, and then he talked to real people who were like actual members of that culture / religion, and it kind of changed his mind on things, you know. Like, I mean, what do you expect? Is that literally what you would expect? Like, if he's changing his mind, like, wouldn't talking to people be like an instrumental part of that, you know?
After all this, I think towards the end of next year, I think I'd like to visit the Middle East and see it for myself. I want.
He's gonna get fucking killed, dude. I'm sorry. That might not go that well, depending on where he goes.
I see it for a historical perspective, right? I would love to go to Istanbul in Turkey. There's no ulterior motive there at all. But it's not just that. I'd love to visit places like Saudi Arabia, Dubai, any of the other places. I mean, the truth is that, and this is the worst thing about what I said, some of the places that I would want to visit, I might not be able to because of the way that they're like just the internal strife, the actual literal wars that are going on, people being literally killed there, and I might not be able to do that. But I want to do it, and I want to see it for myself, because I don't like believing what people tell me. And I think that when I do, I end up being a fool, and I want to see it. I want to see it for myself, and I want to experience it, and I want to live my life. And I'm going to try to, like, I don't know, like, clean out part of my house. I'm going to try to do this, and I'm not going to hide anything. As I said, I was raised Roman Catholic. I view this as a penance. And I think I need to do this for myself. I need to take accountability for bad things that I've done and for letting my life get this out of control. And I don't need a get out of jail free card. So I need to do that for myself and for my own closure as well. And I think also I want to live for the idiots out there that, you know, they're, you know, like looking to me to be a role model, right? Oh, not a good idea. But there are people that will see that and they'll think maybe to themselves, maybe I should do the same thing. And if I can do that for one person, well, I've already done it for myself. I've already done a good thing, and so it could only get better. And so that's what my plan is. I'm going to try to like rethink my life. I have had a lot of people reach out to me, people I would have never expected reach out to me in ways that I never expected. And I understand that, you know, like I'm still very critical about, you know, religious fundamentalism, right? But when you paint with such a broad brush that you just include an entire group of people, you're not. You're just being a fucking. You're being a piece of shit. It's like people said it was racist. I didn't mean it as racist, but if you listen to what I said, it's easy that you could assume that. So easy. And so I'm just a fucking idiot. I'm a fucking moron. I've been an asshole. I think that I've devolved for the last 2 years. I think that negatively affected other people too, in ways that I hate. I don't even hate to say this. Like I think I need to say this. I need to say it more. I've negatively affected people in ways that I regret. I think whenever I go back live again, I'll talk about that more. And like there's different people I kind of want to apologize to and take accountability for things that I've said. And I'm done.
It was about culture, not race. I mean, what he said was about culture, not race. Yes, but obviously, the current political climate, people are going to say, the racist thing, about the Palestinian race, I guess. People are going to say something like that, about Arab. The YouTube editors are going to be seething. They're not going to have anything to edit for a couple weeks here. Except YouTuber apology challenge impossible. The thing is, like, with certain apologies, like from, someone like Logan Paul for the Forest incident, or for example, what was that fucking thing? The Miranda Sings like apology video, right? Like these are very, very clearly like disingenuous apologies made by people who don't, for Miranda, I don't even think she apologized. It was just made by people who like don't really feel bad about what they did. But with the one that's like this in depth and this explanatory and this self-aware, like I don't know, man. I'm inclined to believe that he actually is being genuine with his apology here. Honestly, like, I think he is being genuine.
That have negatively affected other people in ways that were unfair and wrong, and that's what my plan is. That's about it. I want to say that I hope that now, after you've heard what I have to say, that a lot of you all can see kind of why I'm saying that I appreciate this. I really think that this is something I needed, and I hope that this is the next part of the rest of my life. And I want you guys to hold me accountable to that. So if I'm being a fucking asshole again, if I'm being mean, if I'm just being callous.
One take I'd like to see him talk about is the fruit take. Because I criticize him for that. My impression from him at that time, from that drama, and this isn't an impression I get in every situation, so it's kind of weird to me because I feel like a lot of the stuff he talks about, he does have a more measured take, but my impression from that was he just saw what people on Twitter were saying and just repeated that, right? And, this is kind of the manifestation of that in a greater way, where he gets more shit for it, because with the fruit thing, like the only people who were mad were like a few VTubers, but with this, he angered like all of Twitch, all of lefty Twitter, stuff like that. The fruit take, yeah, essentially.